Hey guys, my name's Jamble and welcome back to another Hytale video. Today we're going to be talking about Hytale's combat system and what we could see with the combat inside of Hytale. So first things first, we can see that there's some sort of special charge up ability or attacks that you can do with each item. So right here we have the sword, which has this little yellow glow around it. And it seems like he's going to do a lunge or some sort of like strike where he goes super fast into that goblin. And if we look here in the trailer, we can actually see the hammer doing some sort of spin AoE attack that will do damage to anything that's near it or inside that AoE. And it seems like that one thing that we're going to see with Hytale and their combat is that they have special abilities that really kind of change up the combat gameplay. This is something that I'm really looking forward to, and something that I'm thinking is that maybe this is something that might be to do with your character, where you can level up certain abilities. Or it could be item based, where depending what kind of sword or weapon you're using, different sort of special abilities are actually on that weapon. And maybe what we could see is only some sort of rare or mysterious weapons might have those abilities. So it will be very exciting to see how they actually do this and how the combat will be different to maybe other games that are in the voxel based genre, aka Minecraft. One thing that I'm hoping for with these special abilities are these are really kind of final abilities that you have to kind of charge up. You know, they're really special. I don't want to see them being spammed or overdone, which I don't think will be in the game. But I've heard some people saying, well, they could just be heavy attacks that are charged up. But I don't really see that being the case. I have a feeling that these might be their own special abilities where maybe you have to charge up your mana or something along that line, where they're kind of like Overwatch abilities, where they're your ultimate, your finishing sort of ability. And also, a lot of people are going, well, if these are special abilities, how is this going to affect player versus player or PvP or the minigames? And maybe this is something that we can see turned on and turned off. And what I'm thinking is that this is going to be something very unique to the single player or the co-op version of the game, where you're playing through the story, you're playing through the survival mode. I don't really see this being on Bedwars or any of their minigames, because could you imagine if someone... Then again, to be honest, there could be special modes in those minigames where you can have special abilities. So, you know, we might actually see versions of these in those minigames. But what I'm thinking is that this is more for the single player story mode sort of aspect, to really make it feel more RPG-like. One thing I noticed is that when you go into dungeons, it seems like PvP is disabled. At least in this clip here, where we see the skeleton battle, when he shoots from his grimoire, we can actually see it go through Ninja Charlie T, which really implies that maybe dungeons might be a place where PvP is disabled, or maybe you can enable it, but maybe naturally it's disabled, because really the dungeons are about PvE. I'm guessing it'd be very annoying if you were constantly hitting your teammates, especially if you're using these big special attacks. But I think one of the main things that we're promised with Hytale is variety. Variety in weapons, variety in attacks, in attack styles, and really I feel that differences of the weapons will really be beneficial in different places. Like maybe some mobs are really good at fighting close range, so using long range weapons such as magic or bows might be really good against certain mobs, and other mobs are really good at long range, so getting close to them is far better for your chance of defeating them. And really this is what we want variety. And I really feel that this is something that we're going to get. Variety seems to be something that Hypixel really cares about, especially when we see Hytale in the variety of blocks and in the variety of the story and everything else that they're planning for us. I don't see why variety in weapons wouldn't be the case. One thing that they mentioned back in the early days was that every weapon will be very different. They will have different stats, different names, sort of like MMORPG weapons, which I think is really, really great, because that will really bring a personality to your weapon. But with loot being so different and the weapons being so different from each other, this really asks the question, will the combat be skill based or RNG based? Will me being good at PvP be because I got a really rare and strong sword from a dungeon, or would it be because I'm really good at the PvP? Though from the clips that we have, it seems like the PvP will be very much timing based, where you have to block at a certain time and hit at a certain time. It seems like timing is going to be the main feature, even more than aiming, what it seems, from at least the melee combat. Now when it comes to Hytale, it's really interesting how things might change. We don't know if there's classes or anything, but I can imagine maybe there's some sort of like Terraria soft class system in Hytale where, depending what type of armor you're wearing, benefits maybe different weapons or abilities. So for example, maybe wearing like ranger like clothes might help you with bows and daggers, where if you're wearing big chunky metal armor, you're going to be better with swords and hammers and, you know, heavy damage. And then obviously if you're wearing, you know, like robes, silk robes and stuff like that, you're going to be really good at magic abilities. And really that's what I'm looking forward to, is maybe something like that. Now, is that in the game? I don't really know, but that's something that I would like, because take for example Terraria, right, where they have that system. I think it fits really well for especially people wanting to go certain classes. I know when I play with friends on Terraria, we all choose a class. Maybe I go mage and they go, you know, melee, and you know, that real kind of connection of making your own classes in there and being able to change at any point is really fun. So something like that is something that I would personally want from Hytale. But I think the best thing about the Hytale combat that we've seen is that you have heavy attacks, light attacks, and it seems like that if you hit someone with a heavy attack, it really knocks them back. And I feel that sort of detail in the combat will be really beneficial, especially when it comes to PvP. Coming from Minecraft, their PvP is very simple, and it's very much like either you have to hit at a certain time, or if you're playing on the older versions, you have to just spam as much as you can. So to have a knockback or a stun and a heavy and a light attack is really fresh, and I really like that idea. And in Hytale, seeing this and really seeing how that plays in PvP and really on their servers is something that I'm really looking forward to, because I reckon that's probably going to be very different to its predecessor. Now, for something that I would like is an ability to create your own sort of special ability. Going back onto those special abilities, how cool would it be if you could name and kind of create your own special ability and what it does? So maybe if you're a swordsman, you can make like a dash attack, or you can make some sort of, you know, big slash that does like a beam, and you can name it whatever. And I imagine when you're designing it, you can choose the colour and the name, and it's really your own personalised attack. I feel if they added something like that, it would be so cool. Could you imagine being able to make the Kamehameha wave or something like that? Would be just amazing. Like being able to go Kamehameha, or being able to slash a sword and a beam comes out. Obviously, this would be stuff that they put in the game as presets, so, you know, maybe their own abilities that they've already made, but we can kind of customize maybe the name and the color and the duration and how it sort of looks. I think that would be really cool if they added a system like that. But the likelihood is that there probably isn't a system like that. I imagine the special abilities will be based on what sort of weapon you're using, and maybe the tiers or something like that might decide the colour. But it'd be really cool to see how the game actually is and how the combat works. That's something that I'm really looking forward to, is seeing how the combat works, especially against PvE, because we have all these unique special mobs and bosses, and really seeing how you're going to have to change your combat style for each of those bosses and mobs is something that really excites me and really will push the game and make it more fun. But if you like this video, leave a like and a subscribe. It would mean the world to me, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!